Hello, my name's Brian Sitch and I'm Curator of Archaeology at Manchester Museum. I'm very pleased to be standing here at the South Shields Museum with Alex Croom, who's Keeper of Archaeology for Tyne and Weir Archives and Museum Service. We're standing here in front of a very fine inscription, and the reason we've asked you to give us an interview is because we have in our collection at Manchester a very important auxiliary diploma that was given to a Syrian man. And I believe that this inscription, I'm hoping you're going to be able to tell us something about it, is set up to a lady, and there is a connection to someone who came from the eastern provinces of the Roman Empire, I believe.
Yes, this is a tombstone of a freed slave who's called Regina, named there, and she is the one shown sitting on a chair, opening up a treasure box with baskets of wool beside her. But she was the freed woman and wife of a man called Barates, and he comes from the city of Palmyra, which is in Syria. She was of the Catalonian tribe from southern England, and she was approximately 30 years old when she died. But this inscription is particularly interesting. It's a bilingual one, because underneath the Latin you've got this line of Aramaic which says, Regina, freed woman of Barates, alas. And
do we have any explanation as to why this man might have come to South Shields in the Roman period? Is there any supposition there or conjecture?
Yes, sadly, this is just a little snapshot of their lives, but exactly who they are, I don't know. It's a possibility that he may have been a trader dealing with the army. He doesn't actually seem to be a soldier, because he describes Regina as being his wife, and the soldiers at this time couldn't marry, and he doesn't mention the name of his unit, which is most typical for soldiers. But there was a large fort here, and the soldiers coming in, and maybe lots of middlemen dealing with all the supplies of food and so on. So there's a possibility that that's who he is.
It's interesting that Regina is described as a liberta, a freed woman. Does that tell us something about the original relationship between Barates and Regina at all? Is it possible, for instance, that she might have started out as his slave, and then after being freed became his wife?
Yes, I think almost certainly that she was his slave.
There's something very interesting in that relationship, I think, between the woman who was once the slave then going on to become the wife of the master. Do you think that can we speculate in any way about that relationship? Is it likely to be on the basis of love?
No, I think it must have been love, because this is such an expensive sort of tombstone that he's put a lot of cost and effort into creating this. So I think we can say it's love.
It's very fine, the way that she's leaning back on what looks like some kind of, is it a wicker chair, woven wicker chair?
Yes.
Perhaps?
Yeah, this is a very common type of Roman furniture, wicker chair, particularly used by women who were seen as a bit sort of too comfortable for men to sit in such chairs. So she's sort of sitting in this very Roman style of furniture, and she's got the treasure box there showing her wealth, or rather
she's shown
wealth.
With all her finery, isn't she, with her bracelets, for instance,
yes,
showing very clearly.
And her necklace, and she's wearing what was probably quite the latest fashions at the time, in the second half of the 2nd century, when fashions were changing. She's wearing an outfit that was originally came from sort of France, from the continent. So, yes, all in all, I think she is.
This gentleman came from Palmyra, from the eastern provinces. Is there any interest in inscriptions like this from people who've come to this country from that part of the world, perhaps more recently? Do you know?
Not that any I've known of, but a lot of people are just very interested in this. It is actually a bilingual one, because it is unusual.
It's a fantastic piece of evidence that shows that immigration to this country, to the UK, is certainly nothing new, and that we have some very firm evidence of it as long ago as 1800 years ago.